really difficult to come back from that kind of deficit.
The thing with RNG though is they can match pretty effectively on that early to mid game pressure. You've got the Syndra who does really well off 2 items, the Renekton as well, plus Nidalee when she gets 2 items really hurts. That execute combo is incredibly strong and great setup across the board here. So this is going to be a case of, can Vici get these big engages off around objectives using the Jarvan and Galio combo to nullify RNG in those objective fights?
They're going to try and set up for those fights. They're going to try. There is no Galio.
Yeah, I don't know why I kept going on about it. I saw the Galio and completely forgot Akali got locked in.
I don't think that there's going to be many Heroes entrances this game, but Galio's not a champion, it's a play style, right? And they're still going to be trying to jump in together. That's what Galio's about. You can see Hung moving down to the bottom side of the map here. Very standard start, nobody going for anything level 1. You can see Xiaolongbao going to be starting solo on his red buff.
Yeah, we'll be starting up towards this top side, and you can see the ward already placed by Vici on Ike's blue. So they are aware that there's a high chance Xiaolongbao is going to be trying to get these invades and get some pressure off the other side of the jungle. Especially with Nu on this Renekton dictating this top side, being able to push in, control how the wave state is. Xiaolongbao can play very heavily towards that.
And this is one of the scary things about going for that Wukong as a blind pick, right? Because Renekton, he's real strong in the top lane, and he is not afraid to trade with a Wukong.
Not at all. You can even see here, Nu is going for this aggressive push to make sure that he's able to control, getting that ward down to spot in case Ike's was up on this top side of the map and looking for a level 2 gank.
I'm really curious how this Akali is going to pan out as well. You can see Fleet footwork just to try and make it through the laning phase there for the side of Forge, but I'm curious, first off, if Ike's and Hung are going to try and make these plays around the mid lane, whether Akali is a champion that they're going to try and execute that same strategy for, or if they just kind of sacrifice the mid lane a bit, accept that you're going to fall a bit behind in CS, and look towards plays later on in the game.
If I'm Ike's, I'm trying to play towards top side right now. In bottom lane, you're not going to be able to do a huge amount just because of the ability of Thresh to counter Ike's engage, also remove Betty from any sort of dangerous situations. Plus in the mid, you want Forge to hit that level 6 before you can actually get the execute damage and make that gank pay off. So as long as you can maybe help out Cube in this top side, survive this early laning phase, get to a point where Wukong outscales the Renekton, they could be in good shape.
Bit of a deep ward coming through there from Hung, but Ming knows what's going on. He's there, he's ready, he's already got his sweeper, so immediately shifts on over and clears that out. And shouts over to Xiaolongbao saying, hey, look, man, there ain't no wards here. You could maybe make a play happen, and he's going to try and do exactly that. Flash play. iBoy is already doomed. That kill goes to Betty, and there's no way out for Hung either. He's going to try and get a counter kill. Ignite is taken, and he actually does it, but it's still a 2-for-1.
Yeah, Hung does get the kill, but it doesn't matter. You have that kill going over to a Xiaolongbao, the kill for Betty. A massive mistake from iBoy. Arcane shifted aggressively in that manner.
Fantastic, though, from RNG, from Ming especially, just to go clear the ward and be like, look, that ward's are a cooldown. Come and make something happen.
I have no idea what iBoy was thinking there. Arcane shifting so far forward into Ming, and with Xiaolongbao here, it's easy cleanup. And now RNG, great start to that bottom side of the map. You can see the pickaxe already in tow for Betty. They should be able to have so much power in this bottom lane now.
And now I have to eat my words, because I said that Xiaolongbao, he's got a Nidalee, he's going to want to farm in the jungle, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely not. He wants to gank, he wants to make things happen.
It's going to be... Oh, hang on. A lot of healing there for Nu. I was going to say Nu could do a reasonable job here of having that slow push come out, freeze the wave and make it really difficult for Cube to try and get up in CS, but going for that big trade instead means that he's not able to hold that wave where he would have liked to.
Yeah, he's just going to be trying to crash that eventually and then force it back into the middle of the wave. But Nu definitely getting the best of these trades, because ultimately, when you look at these CS numbers, when you look at the health bars, Nu is well and truly in control.
And that's the way this matchup should go, right? That's why you pick the Renekton here, is you can do so well against the Wukong in the early stages of the game. And that's why Xiaolongbao right now is having pretty much free farm of where he wants to go. I would like to see him try and set this Jarvan a little bit further behind, because right now, Ike's has been pretty much nonplussed with what's been happening. Unfortunate gank in the bottom lane, yes, does give the kills over, but as long as Ike's is able to get these big tanky items and be the front line for Vici, that's all he wants to do.
You can see both junglers moving towards the bottom side here. Xiaolongbao, I thought he was going to actually start the dragon then. It was a bit crazy, but he's not going to go for that in the end. Just going to clear away his Gromp, go over to his Wolves as well. And you can see that both teams kind of just waiting for some power spikes here. So Dagda, talk me through kind of the mid-game strategy here. At what point are these teams really going to be popping off?
Well, certainly both sides are playing pretty heavily towards that 2-item spike. I'd say more so for Vici, because you do have, you know, the Akali who spikes off of getting the 2 items. Same with the Wukong getting that Triforce, Highboy, like, I don't even need to explain that. So overall, Vici will be hitting super hard around that mark. And it's going to be on RNG trying to bypass that, rely on the likes of Yu and Xiaohu to keep themselves safe during that period. And eventually, Betty will outscale. And you can have Xiaolongbao help him out in a lot of situations. That heal, given the extra attack speed, will make this Aphelios even more of a threat.
Yeah, it has to be said as well that if RNG catch someone out of position with a Thresh and a Nidalee and a Syndra Aphelios to follow up, they can find picks real quick and real effectively. So vision control around the mid-game is going to be crucial for Vici.
It really is. And already you can see RNG using the pressure that they got in the bottom lane, plus the natural advantage Nidalee has in the jungle, to start clearing out this first dragon and setting themselves up. So looks like it's either going to be the Ocean Soul or that Dragon Soul that we're looking at for this game.
The Ocean Soul or the Dragon Soul.
Or the... Man, so what is with me today? I have no idea what's going on.
I think they're all Dragon Souls, actually. But it does depend, because some people call them Drakes. So it depends who you're talking to. But nobody ever calls it the Drake Soul, because I feel like that's his next album.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah.
But yeah, overall, New feeling pretty good in this top lane. He's got a 10 CS lead for himself. He just went and got the Scuttle Crab on top of it as well. Dragon going the way of RNG. And they've actually found themselves, even though there's only been 3 kills, they've found themselves almost 1,000 gold lead, plus a dragon on top of it. RNG are doing a really good job to squeeze advantages out of Vici right now.
A lot of that will be off of that bottom lane play, though. The 2 kills going across. Even though they don't have the CS lead, that's more of a factor in the mid lane, and that's where a lot of this gold is situated. Now, coming up towards this Rift Herald, though, again, with the pressure Nu has on top and Xiaohu has in the mid, Xiaolongbao should be able to steal this away relatively quickly, and because of the clear speed of Nidalee, it's not like he's going to fall too far behind compared to Ike's.
Now, one thing I want to talk about a little bit here, while we've got some time in the early game, is kind of the history for Vici here. Because when you think about RNG and the expectations for them this split, I thought he was going to go for a fight there. RNG's expectations are obvious, right? They're champions. They are multi-time champions. They're Worlds attendees time and time again. They're wanting to make that happen once more. For Vici, on the other hand, it's not quite as cut and dry as that. The last time that they made playoffs was 2016, and they finished 5th. So even then, not a great playoff performance. They need to start to build a legacy for themselves and become one of these names within the LPL that people in the West care about, that people all over the world will have heard of and will respect.
And that's why they brought in Coma, right? Was to try and set up this legacy. And it's trying to invest in players like Ike's, like Forge. And right now you can see that paying off. Ike's realizing, hey, RNG are going to be handing over this blue buff right now to Xiaohu. We've got a moment of time where Xiaolongbao will be on the bottom side of the map. And they managed to steal away that Rift Herald.
Yeah, managed to snag that one for themselves. That was Xiaohu W'd the wrong bush there. Ike's is actually going to be able to steal away the... Well, I say steal away the Gromp. Takes his own Gromp in the end, gets away from Xiaolongbao. And New trading heavily in the top lane. As we do see Xiaolongbao, I don't know if he wants to make a play here, if he's actually going to commit to this. With Ike's here as well, with Wukong's ultimate, they're still going to make this play happen. In goes the Cyclone, knockups onto everyone, but Cube is low. Scout of the Week finishes him off, and Ike's flashes away to safety. Forge here, just going to be clearing the minions. He's onto Xiaolongbao, but he goes golden, keeps himself alive. Forge now trying to finish him off, but he doesn't have the damage. New's ready to go back in. Twilight Shroud is here, but so is Ming. Ike's and Forge in trouble. Xiaolongbao nearby. Ming can throw him a lantern if he needs to. There's a spear, but it doesn't quite land. The damage is still there. Scan of the Week, and Xiaolongbao with another.
There's the coordination we are talking about from RNG, though. Just about managing to pick up the double kill, and now 3 turret plates to their name as well. That whole play that Vici would like to look towards with the Rift Herald has just gone on that play.
And that was so damn clean. The bait with the stopwatch especially.
And you can see here, the way they juggle this aggro is great. You get the Dominus, which actually gets the auto attacks from the turret, so it's not Xiaolong Bao who's tanking up all that turret. Then as he talked about that stopwatch to just about keep him alive, bait Forge out that bit too far, and give Ming access here to set up for another kill.
I love how Ming just like stepping just far enough forward to be able to make the play. Doesn't want to overstep there. Beautifully played. And Ming especially is a player that is worth talking about here because Spring wasn't really his split. He didn't have the greatest performances ever, but he's a player that we know can be up with the very best.
And has realized, look, in this lane against iBoy, I can keep doing this because the push, yes, can come through, but Betty's going to be fine. There's not enough damage off of iBoy right now to try and take him out. And they've been playing around this super well. The entire time that play is going on, Betty's picking up all the experience, all the CS, and not even a turret play going over towards the likes of iBoy and home.
We need to see a little bit more out of Vici here because the thing that we really complimented Vici on against BLG was figuring out their win conditions and playing to them. Forge is in a whole heap of trouble here. Xiaohu pulls out a lantern. With Hung there, maybe they could have finished off Xiaohu, but Ming saves the day once again. Now, has to be said, Ming so far on the Thresh has been everywhere on the map.
The big issue here, though, is Xiaohu burning that ultimate, not getting the kill, means there is the opportunity for Forge to back.
Ikes is here. Ming spots him, though. And he's actually going to back away from that one. Kind of surprised that they didn't just try and force a play. They obviously knew Xiaolong Bao was here.
So, RNG now are just looking to pick up the second dragon. I don't think that Vici will really want to fight for this. You've still waiting on those two items to come in, even the first items to come in a lot of their squads. And Akali and Ezreal just aren't really in a position right now to fight against this Syndra, who's already picked up her first item and the completed jungle item from the middle.
Yeah, and when you look at the inventory for iBoy especially, he's got a cull. That signals, I don't really want to fight right now. I want to farm up, I want to finish my cull, I want to get a couple of items first.
And now Vici do have the opportunity coming up towards the third dragon to fight off of these newly purchased items and potentially pick up 3 oceans for themselves and then the soul on top of it, which they'll be delighted about.
Aggressive TP there from Forge, going straight into the mid lane right near the back line, but he's just going to clear out his minions here as Xiaohu going to head back to base. This is a perfect opportunity to drop a Rift Herald. Forge is going to be happily there to soak up some of that gold. It's not going to do too much in terms of the plates, though. It's only those first 2 plates it gets.
It's more about accelerating Forge towards those items. We talked about already how Ikes likes to play towards Forge, and the team has started to see him as the main carry. We saw towards the end of Spring Split that this was the game plan, so looks like we're doubling down on that now for Vici and looking to get this Akali to finish off that Hextech item first and then moving on towards the likes of the Zhonya's Hourglass and trying to be a nuisance in these fights.
And I love the way that Vici have approached that over the course of this year, and it feels like Vici, when they were looking towards Spring Split, they weren't looking at, oh my days, how does that hook hit Ming? You're an absolute monster. Hung's caught out. Ignited. Is it going to be enough damage? He goes gold and saves himself. Xiaohu's there, though. And he's going to finish the kill.
This is the thing. This bottom side jungle belongs to RNG. You are not able to move in as Vici, as iBoy's about to find out.
Oh, iBoy, this is not the place to be. In goes the... Oh, Ming.
It was blind. To give him his fair, it was blind.
Look, okay? I've just spent the last, 13 minutes and 55 seconds talking him up, and he's going to miss that hook. Disappointment. I'm an AD carry, man. I don't believe in...
Oh, no! Sorry, Betty.
Yeah, I know. He just missed it. He just missed it. Heartbreaking.
Sad times. But look, either way, RNG now collapsing on this bottom side. Vici needs to be so careful. Obviously, RNG looking to pick up the first turret right now.
iBoy just about dodges the spear there. This is going to be the tower going down. No shadow of a doubt. Betty finishes that one off. And the gold lead is really starting to skyrocket for RNG. Every single fight has gone their way. They're 4,000 gold up now.
And the thing is, they're not losing things when they make these plays, because Forge doesn't have the pushing power right now to shove in the mid wave and make Xiaohu lose a bunch of CS and get some damage on the turret. And same in top lane. Yu has the level advantage. He's hit that second point in the ultimate. So if anything starts to happen in the bottom lane, RNG would have had the advantage.
I want to go back to what I was saying about Vici just before all of that kicked off. Actually, no, I'm not, because everyone's going to arrive. We're going to have a contest for the Rift Herald. RNG not going to let this one go without a fight. Xiaolong Bao moves in.
iBoy has his teleport, which is why they're considering going for this, but I still think looking at the items here, It's kind of RNG favorite. This is going to come down to execution from Vici, but looks like they've read, hey, look, we don't want to try and take this just yet. We still want to get towards our second items before we really start fighting.
I think the big game changer in these kinds of fights would be Cube on this Wukong if he can get a massive Cyclone, but ultimately, he doesn't have his Triforce yet, so he's not going to be at that big damage point. On the other side of the board, Nu's got a Black Cleaver. He's ready to brawl.
Yeah, we are getting very close to where Vici will start to take these scraps, though, and it's about the time that RNG start to slow down. But the problem is it's a 4,000 gold lead for RNG right now, and it's not like they're going to fall off very heavily as this game goes on. They're going to be in a pretty good spot and be able to fight Vici at all points in this game.
It's going to be another tower going the way of RNG. In the meantime, on the bottom side of the map, though, iBoy is getting some damage down. I don't know how close to finishing that bot tower he actually is, though. As Nu moves into the lane, I don't think he'll be able to finish it off just yet. But he's okay, now he can move in, he can finish this one off. Obviously, the plates are gone, so it's relatively easy to finish these towers. And he does have a Mana Moon, so he's got a bit of AD to work with.
He's also just finished his cull, now picked up that turret plate, so he's going to be pretty far accelerated now in towards that second item. I wouldn't be surprised to see him finish off that Iceborne Gauntlet. And now Vici are starting to come online just as this third dragon is about to spawn.
And this is one that Vici are really going to have to start contesting for. I think pulls Betty into the mid lane. I thought he was going to try and go for a play there, but just going to clearing out these minions so they can move over to this dragon and start to get some vision control.
There's no real pressure for Vici on the map right now, though, which is great for them. It's not like top wave is pushing in towards their tier 2, although Cube will need to go down towards this bottom lane to pick up the wave, but he's at least still close to this objective and will have time to join in.
Hook, though, onto Forge. Twilight Shroud Force. They decide not to pull the trigger just yet.
And that's actually pretty big. You've got a 20-second cooldown on that right now, and a lot of the energy that you need for Akali in these fights comes from...
Oh, iBoy gets caught out and annihilated on towards the dragon. That's a free ticket for RNG.
iBoy has not been on point this game at all. Arcaning shifting for way too aggressively in the bottom side, now getting caught out in the mid lane by the auto attacks from Betty. This sets up, well, mid lane turret going down. Shelong Bao is soloing out the dragon, and they're going to keep pushing here for RNG.
It can go for more. 10 seconds on iBoy. In they go. Xiaohu uses that Zonius to keep himself alive as Nu's going to be peeling for Betty. It's one kill going the way of Vici, but in comes Cube to turn it into more as well. He's on to Betty. Second Cyclone won't quite. Oh, it does land because Betty went into a cast time, and he's going to be able to turn that into 2 kills in the end. RNG somehow going even here.
They go even, but it's everything in the kitchen sinks from Vici. They use a lot of burst to get rid of Xiaohu and Ming, but Betty, being able to play that a little bit further back and wait out a lot of that burst damage from Vici, manages to survive. The consistent damage from Vici's iBoy, so as long as he's not there, there's no real follow-up for the rest of that fight.
Let's take another look, because that was really chaotic.
It was, but Xiaohu was crucially got caught out at the very start, taken out before this fight really kicks off. So all this damage is solely on Betty. Yu is trying to help out just to keep this Wukong off and buys just enough time for Betty to get the healing from the Severum, and it was incredibly crucial that that was the gun that popped, because literally a couple of seconds before he had the Calibrum. So Severum coming out crucial right there.
And really well played by Nu as well to peel for Betty in that fight, because Forge was that close to finishing the kill off. Nu manages to stop him in his tracks.
That's the beauty about Renekton in these style of games, though, where the enemy team is trying to dive on top of you, because you've got multiple different modes that you can enable. Either that peels kind of supportive style that we just saw, but also if he wants to, he can just go ham, go aggressive, get in onto iBoy and Forge and really cause them a nuisance. So Nu can have multiple different actions in this game to try and carry forward for RNG.
So far, so good for RNG, it has to be said. 5,000 gold in the lead right now, and feeling fantastic off the back of every single one of these fights. Because ultimately, even though that fight goes even in the end, Betty gets a ton of gold for himself. They still got the dragon. They still got to push in the mid lane as well. Got a second charge onto the tier 2. So ultimately, they're still happy with the way things went there. The only downside for them, the only positive for Vici, is that Forge got the shutdown onto Xiaohu. So that's a huge injection of gold for him.
You say that, but we're really starting to see Betty come online now. He's got that Rune's Hurricane. He'll be working very quickly up towards that second Zeal item. And the problem is that now you're in an issue with going towards that next dragon, where your items, that 2-item spike, has hit, but you haven't really hit as hard as you would have liked. And RNG are slowly going to start taking over as long as they can protect Betty on the back line.
So now over towards
Oh,
the Baron.
no. An accidental flash from Xiaolongbao was just in the replay in the bottom left corner. That ward really scared him. It's like cats with, what was it, the cucumbers? You leave the cucumber behind.
You put a cucumber behind your cat. Well, it wasn't a cucumber, but what's a green sometimes, depending on the skin. Oh, dear. Poor Xiaolongbao. You know, the Rift can be scary at times.
It really can. Look, if you have a Garen running out of a bush, that's the biggest jump scare ever. But either way, the vision control is going to make sure there's no pesky people jumping out of bushes, because right now, RNG, the amount of wards littered in this river is insane.
Yeah. And they have complete and utter mid lane dominance when it comes to controlling priority here, when it comes to shoving these waves in. They can just continue to push this vision line forwards. Someone from Vici eventually has to come and check this.
And it's really difficult for Vici to try and come in here because you've got so many wards there. There's a lot of poke on RNG, but with them in the pit right now, if they can find this engage, it could be disastrous for RNG.
Hey, that's the Scryer's Orb. RNG don't need to fight this right now. All they need to do is just use that Scryer's Orb. That's Ezreal on cooldown. That's the blue trinket on cooldown. There's no more ways to check.
And that's it. You can heal up with Xiaolongbao as well, so it's not really like you're too far pushed out by going for these plays, and it's all about trying to gain like TPs, summoner spell, well not summoner spells, sorry, abilities, cooldowns out of Vici in these plays.
Try and force them out of their comfort zone, force them to use some of their resources, and you can see over on the scoreboard as well, iBoy going towards that Death Dance build that we've seen coming into the meta so frequently now, especially on Ezreal. We've seen it a little bit on Ashe as well. Just such an incredibly strong item since they gave it the defensive stats. That'll be coming out of the Caulfield Warhammer that he currently has. But let's talk a little bit about iBoy, because in spring he had a pretty disappointing split, it has to be said, and it felt like Vici were trying to focus around him as the primary carry, especially early on in spring. Kept on mispositioning, falling out of favor, and eventually they stopped trying to make him the win condition. It feels like they moved away from him being the win condition, but getting caught out still, going too aggressive in the lane. We're still seeing these customary issues from iBoy.
And that's the problem now. They've fallen so far behind that when they're trying to push in here, the poke from Xiaolongbao is stronger. They haven't really been able to find the fight that they would like. Ming gets the hook.
It does, but that's actually going to be Vici starting to fight off here. Ike's went real deep for this one, slowed and forced to flash away. And that's going to be that. It's just going to be some cooldowns used for Vici. Hook goes in and Ike's is executed, chasing down onto iBoy. Cube, it's him against the world. Forge has to run away as well. Ming survives somehow. And this is going to be Ocean Salt. That's everything that Vici has.
And this is why I was calling for a Thresh ban out of Vici in the draft. Thresh does so well at stopping Ike's from getting involved in these fights, picking off people as well with those hooks. It's the perfect champion to slot into what RNG are trying to avoid and enable with this composition.
This is such a rough game for Vici. It feels like RNG haven't given them anything this game. Every single play has been RNG dictating the pace, dictating the play, making things happen, and taking the lead.
Ocean Soul goes across. Baron going to do the same. Nobody from Vici here to try and dissuade this. This is what we talked about from Vici. We were like, hey, we haven't seen a huge amount from them against BLG. They got to play their game against BLG. Whatever Vici wanted on the map, they took. Now against RNG, though, where they're really being tested, this is where we're starting to see those mistakes creep in, especially from the man on your screen. You talked about already, Munchables. iBoy has not been able to step up here, and because of that, Vici, when they hit the point they're strongest, haven't been able to find the fights.
He's still a while away from that death stance as well before he can really kick off. Forge as well on the Akali, struggling in these fights, but obviously when you're this far behind, and especially now against an Ocean Soul, Akali's not really going to be able to do very much. Betty has so much protection, so much peel. He's even got a stopwatch sitting there. If Forge ever does manage to get onto him, this just feels like it's getting harder and harder. And even the minions are going to be working in favor of RNG as they take the tower by themselves.
And that's it. Vici, the whole way this comp wants to work is Cube and Ike's diving in as this duo, setting up for iBoy to just damage whatever person has been caught out by the Cube and Ike's. And then it's Forge just trying to play this aggressive stall towards the other carries of RNG and trying to zone them back with his Akali or just pick them off if they wander too close. The problem now, though, is they're too far behind.
Cube's been caught. He's going to have his Cyclone to knock him up, but realistically doesn't have the damage. Or does he? No, he doesn't. He stands. The Ocean Soul plus the heal out of Charlon Bao. This is going to be yet another tower and yet another win for RNG.
And it's RNG looking really, really good. Like, from start to finish, they were able to find these advantages, getting Xiaohu out once again, roaming topside to set up the plays for New, and now...
Oh, again, iBoy gets caught, taken down. That might just be game dagger.
I think that is going to be... I mean, you've got Cube who's dead, iBoy's dead, here comes the teleport.
Look at the clock. This is a 25-26 minute win right here for RNG. This isn't just a strong performance like they had against OMG. This is domination. Forge goes down, another kill, and a comfortable crushing of Vici from RNG.
And that's it. RNG played this out brilliantly from start to finish. Playing towards the top side of the map like we expected because you've got the